We started this video as a study of love and attachment in the teachings of Christ and the Buddha. We ended up discussing the ultimate nature of being, suffering, and the limits of our understanding. This goes to show the fundamental place of love on all planes of existence. Let's summarize our findings. We have sketched out the spectrum of love. At its fringes, love appears as sadism, cruelty, and evil. Here we find a complete lack of connection and understanding. The last desperate attempt to attain these is violence. We then go through narcissism, where the ego has superficial understanding of and connection with itself, and uses others as a means of gratifying its desires. The ego experiences itself as the axis mundi, around which the world revolves. Disregard for others naturally follows from this delusion. As far as the ego is concerned, there are no others. As love matures, it blossoms into personal love. Here, the person recognizes the reality of other persons. She cultivates for others care, respect, responsibility, and understanding. With desire for mutual flourishing, the sense of separateness fades. Sinking yet deeper, we arrive at true love. Here, the ego dissolves completely into oneness with life. The person recognizes their own face in every part of creation, within and without, self and other, world and God. These are no longer meaningful distinctions. Things appear not as they are in space and time, but in their universal aspect. Finally, at its source, love settles into the stillness of detachment. This detachment transcends understanding and connection so much that it appears as their opposite. But what looks like ultimate ignorance is really the perfection of wisdom. As St. John of the Cross says, "They who know God most perfectly perceive most clearly that He is infinitely incomprehensible." It is curious to note the symmetry of this spectrum. Against the depraved ignorance of sadism, we find the divine ignorance of detachment. In the same way, narcissistic love is the surface equivalent of true love. True love is simply the narcissism of the cosmic person, the Vedic Purusha. Personal love ends up being the central point along this spectrum, the place where the part and the whole, the concrete and the universal, the material and the spiritual meet. Now, we shouldn't think we're distributed along the spectrum in a linear, static fashion. It is not the case that I have personal love, she is a narcissist, he is a sadist, you are in true love, and Meister Eckhart in detachment. The spectrum of love describes the range of each of our hearts. All of love is encoded in each of us, and we exist on all its planes simultaneously. Whether we like it or not, the narcissist and the sadist lurk in each of us. Whether we believe it or not, true love and detachment are already within us. The human heart then appears to be a vessel for pure white light, which contains all frequencies of love within itself. This love, however, as it passes through us, is refracted by the prism of our ego. The practice of love, then, can be seen as the practice of emptying ourselves of ourselves, the practice of becoming a clear aperture for love. In Christian terms, we become vessels for Christ, who said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." As he empties himself to receive love, the Christian proclaims, "I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me." This same idea is prominent in Mahayana Buddhism too. I speak, of course, of the Tathagata Garbha, the Buddha nature within us, the nature of luminous mind that shines through to the degree we have removed the dust of ignorance. We read, "Within the dust of ignorance of all beings, the Tathagata Garbha sits motionless, great, and indestructible." You can have a look at chapter 4 of my video on emptiness to learn more about this. If this video has given you no simple answers, hopefully it leaves you with a new perspective. In the final analysis, thinking about love is like dancing about architecture. It is an awkward attempt of the mind to approach what only the heart can know. May it be that where our mind stumbles, our heart will carry on in understanding. And may we keep learning, always afresh, that God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in him.